Are you thinking of ditching your high cost of living for a more affordable adventure? Well, I think Malaysia might just be your answer. Now, you may be wondering if you can afford the lifestyle here. From accommodation to food, transport to entertainment, I'm about to break down the cost and make your Malaysian dream a reality. So let's dive in. By now, you've already noticed this beautiful infinity pool behind me with a view to Malaysia's most famous skyscrapers. So I got an Airbnb in this building for a month. The room is quite small, but the building is incredible with many amenities just like this one. If you want to see more of what this building is like, I'm going to leave a link up here to the full tour. And as I said, I got this place on Airbnb for a 1-month stay, which gave me a pretty good discount. So the total price was $456.94. Quite a steal if I do say so myself. Now, maybe when you arrive in Malaysia, you don't have that much cash to spare, or you want to really take your time to find the most affordable options, or maybe you just want to mingle with the backpacker crowd. So you could stay at a hostel, and that'll cost you between $8 to $13 a night. First, let me give you a quick rundown of the cash notes that you will find here in Malaysia and its equivalent in US dollars. The first one is the 50 ringgit note, and that one is worth about $10.80. Then comes the 20 ringgit note, and that's worth $4.30. After that comes the 10 ringgit note, and that's worth $2.20. And lastly, what is possibly one of the cutest notes on the face of the earth. Look how tiny and adorable it is. This is the 1 ringgit note, and it's worth about 20 cents. So today I am having my favorite Malaysian breakfast, which is a very simple breakfast, and it consists of kopi C, which is just coffee, sugar, and evaporated milk. It also comes with 2 half-boiled eggs, which is delicious. I've already devoured mine at the perfect consistency. You mix them up and it's also very filling. And of course, you cannot have a Malaysian breakfast without the kaya toast. And this is basically just toast with butter and kaya jam, which is like a coconut jam. And this breakfast comes out to about $2.70. So it's an insane bang for buck and one of my favorite breakfasts here in Malaysia. Man, that was an amazing breakfast. I love it so much. So I forgot to mention there is a service charge here in Malaysia, so that breakfast actually came out to $3, and you can expect to pay anywhere between $2 to $3 for a very basic local meal here in Malaysia. Now, just to give you some perspective, if you were to go to a very fancy coffee shop, you might pay those same $3 for just the coffee. So a coffee at the place where I had breakfast just now is much cheaper, but if you go to a fancier spot, you will pay Western prices. Here in Malaysia, they have these things called mamaks, which are kind of like Indian-run street food restaurants that you see on a lot of corners, and you can expect to pay around $3 for a meal there, and the food is known for being excellent. Now, if I were to have a bit of a larger meal at the place I just had breakfast, maybe a lunch or a dinner with a drink, it might have come out to $4 instead of $3, but that's definitely not breaking the bank. And if you want to have a bit of a fancier dinner, I'm not talking like a Michelin star restaurant or anything, but if you want to have a nicer dinner, you can expect to pay between $3 to $6. Not splurging or anything, but you might have a nicer meal for that price. Now I'm going to quickly run through some individual food and drink items that I've had here during my month stay in Malaysia. And this will be an ascending list from the lowest price to the highest. So I was at the mall the other day and I had some Korean food. It was a very simple meal, but it came with a drink and that cost $3.50. There's a Subway shop next to me, so whenever I wanted to grab a fast sandwich, I would just grab a 6-inch at Subway, and that cost $3.20. When I was feeling the Western vibes, I went to Famous Amos Cookies and I got a large chocolate chip cookie, and I also went to Dunkin' Donuts and got a large cappuccino, and the total for that was $3.60. And I hadn't eaten at Taco Bell in years, so one night I went to Taco Bell and I got one of their combos. It was like a burrito, a taco, and a drink, and some fries, and that came out to $4.60. I had some noodles near Petaling Street, which is one of the most touristy areas here in KL, and I paid $6.30 for those noodles, which is definitely very expensive compared to the local prices here. One day I was strolling through the mall and I saw a place called Pasadena Burger, and they were clearly trying to do this Californian style In-N-Out burger, and I'm obsessed with In-N-Out, so I just had to try it, and I got only a burger. It wasn't a combo or anything, and that came out to $6.50. It was good, but of course there was no In-N-Out. Okay, let's imagine you're at a night out, you're at a trendy bar and you get a little hungry, you want to have a meal. That will cost between $7 to $9. And you know what? I've been coming to Southeast Asia for about 10 years now, and I still hadn't tried the durian, which was a huge mistake. So I just had to try it, and I had a durian here in KL. It cost $8.20. So I did some math here between like very basic local meals and fancier meals and fast food and stuff, and I can safely say that you can expect to pay between $4 to $5 on any meal here as an average. I just bought this big boy here. That's 10 liters of water you're looking at, because of course you shouldn't really drink the tap water here in Malaysia. So this guy came out to $3, but should last me a few days at least. I just arrived here at the metro station in KL. If you want to catch the subway, it's going to cost you 30 cents of a dollar. Now, if you'd rather catch a Grab, which is kind of their Uber service here, an average ride is going to cost you $3.30. Also, when I took a Grab from the airport here in Kuala Lumpur to my accommodation, which is a more central accommodation, it cost around $15.50. And still on the subject of transportation, I bought 2 flights so far here in Malaysia, and they came out to a total of $48 for 2 flights. Quite a steal. I'm now coming to you from one of those massage chairs that they have in the shopping mall, and it's not on, but if I were to turn it on, it would cost $2.30 for 10 minutes. Let me take this opportunity to give you some extra bit of information. I just got some data for my phone, and what I've been doing is getting 6 gigs per month. That also comes with unlimited social data, and that comes out to $10 per month. And I opted for the carrier Cellcom Digi. I don't know if it's the best, but it's kind of been doing its job, and sometimes I jump on the hotspot if my Wi-Fi isn't doing too hot, and it hasn't been too bad. Nothing to write home about though. If you want to get your haircut here in KL, an average price is about $7 for just a barbershop on the street. If you go to a fancier spot, or if you get it cut at the mall or something, it'll probably come out to about $10. The other day I went to a 4D movie here in KL, and I paid $6.80. That's probably like the most expensive movie ticket you'll get here in KL. I imagine that the normal movies are much less than that. And lastly, this blew my mind. When I got here to Malaysia, I had a bit of an ear infection that I got in Thailand, so I went to get it checked out, and the doctor's consultation was $7. And that's because it's actually free for most Malaysians. So the private clinics have to keep their prices down really low to compete with the public service. Behind me, you may notice a little change in scenery. Welcome to the Malaysian Borneo. I just arrived here yesterday, and I am in the city of Kuching. Now, continuing with some costs here in Malaysia, bad news for all of the drinkers, because Malaysia has the 3rd highest alcohol tax in the world, behind only Norway and Singapore. So the tax here is 15%, which means your alcohol is more expensive. If you want to buy a beer at the mart, it's going to cost you about $3, and a beer at a restaurant or bar might cost you $4. So I did go to a bar a few weeks back, and I got a look at some of the prices, and a fancy cocktail will cost between $8 to $11 at a fancy-ish bar. I did, however, get a 4 cocktail deal, and that was $23.50. But you can kind of average that on a big night out. You're going to spend between 25 to 30 bucks. Now, I am very much looking forward to everything that the Malaysian Borneo has to offer. This is where I will be exploring for the next month. And as you may know, they have some pretty insane wildlife and flora. So why don't you join me on this journey? Just click on the video that's on your screen, and we will see everything that the city of Kuching behind me and the Malaysian Borneo in general has to offer. So I will see you on the next one in 3, 2, 1.